The other day, we had an extremely friendly cook-off with a few friends of mine, and the theme ingredient was mushroom. And I thought it might be fun to make a mushroom dish with no visible mushrooms, and this is how the dish came about. I made a mushroom dashi, cooked the pasta in the dashi, risotto style. The result was an incredibly mushroomy and creamy pasta dish that everyone loved. So, I'm gonna show you how I did it. First, we make the dashi. Now, if you have the time, my favorite way of making mushroom dashi is what I call the cold brew method, where you simply soak your mushrooms in cold water overnight. You don't even need to put it in the fridge. That gives you the cleanest and most elegant mushroom dashi ever. But if you're short on time and you want to do it on the same day, you can do it on the stove. So today, we're gonna add some kelp and some dry morels. These are farm morels. I'm only using them because they're faster. Normally I find shiitake too overpowering to make dashi, but for this recipe it's actually perfect. So if you have dry shiitake, use that instead. Now, we're just gonna cover it with water and bring it to a bare simmer. While that's warming up, we're gonna prep our garnishes. Very simple. We're gonna do half a shallot, some chives and some parmesan at the very end. That's it. So, half a shallot. And then some chives at the very end. I often prefer chives to parsley for delicate mushroom flavors. Now that's a bare simmer. At this point, heat off and you just let it steep. For you recipe people out there, my definition of a bare simmer is 86.8 degrees Celsius. You don't have to follow that. Now you want to at least let it sit for half an hour. And then we'll cook the pasta. See you then. After about half an hour, we check on our dashi. It's taken on the color of the mushrooms and the morels have softened, so we're good to go. Now, first, we take out the kombu. You can save this to make a salad. And the morels. Now, you want to squeeze the morels so that they release all the goodness back into the dashi. And of course, don't throw them away. I mean, the no mushroom part is a gimmick. You can always eat them. You can add them back to the pasta. You don't have to cook it without mushroom. I just want to show you what can be achieved without mushrooms. If it's too hot to handle, you can always add a bit of cold water to it. Now that's our beautiful mushroom dashi. If there's visible dirt, you can pass it through a sieve if you want, but because we're cooking it right away, we'll just leave it in the dashi pot. Now, we heat our pan to medium heat. Olive oil goes in. And we sweat our shallots. You don't need to brown them. You just want them to evaporate the water content and concentrate a bit of the sweetness. Considering we're not adding the mushroom back, this is our major ingredient to some extent. You can add a bit of garlic after this as well, but I just really want the mushroom flavor to shine through. So I want to do as little as possible to distract from the mushroom flavors. Once this is translucent, we add mirin, which is a Japanese sweet wine. And we want to reduce that by at least half to concentrate the sweetness, which would go really well with the mushroom flavor. If you don't have mirin, you can use sake. But if you don't have sake, I wouldn't use wine because it introduces too much acidity. I'd rather just skip this step and add a bit of water instead. Now, the mirin has reduced down by a half. And when you smell, you can see the harshness of the alcohol has completely evaporated. At this point, we add a bit of soy sauce. This is both for seasoning and for the color. The mirin and the soy sauce have formed almost a glaze, something like caramel. And that's when the pasta goes in. Directly onto the pan. Dry pasta, this is. You have to use short pasta for this recipe, but you don't have to use the same exact type. What I'm using today is Casarecce number 88, but you can use any short pasta for this recipe. And we just treat this like a risotto. Instead of cooking it in water, what this will achieve is that the pasta is going to release their starch, which in turn acts as the thickener. This would yield a very creamy pasta without the need for butter or cream. Once everything is coated, we add our mushroom dashi slowly. and just mother it like you would a risotto. Once you're used to this method, you can do it with your meat sauce, your sausage ragouts. It's the best thickener. You really, really rarely need to add butter to it. Oh, you can smell the mushroom. It's incredible. Once the pasta is soft to touch, you taste and you check for doneness. Okay, that's perfectly al dente for me. So all you need to do now is reduce the liquid. Look how thick the liquid is. That's all from the starch. You want to reduce it down to a glaze so you get this beautiful sheen on the pasta, but you're not going to get a watery plate. Look at this. I mean, no close-up could do it justice. Look at the liquid. Look at that liquid. Caramel. Stove off. We add a bit of chives for some brightness and color. We grate some Parmesan for some extra umami. This is what you could achieve without butter, without cream. I'm not saying don't use those things, but I want you to understand you can achieve this texture without adding those two ingredients. For me, I like to serve it in the pan, but because we're filming, let's plate. Scrape off the beautiful caramel. A bit more Parmesan at the very end for garnish. Black pepper and some more chives for extra brightness. And there you have it. No mushroom, mushroom pasta. I really hope you enjoy.